Good morning. Good morning. My name is Jocelyn. I am the founder of the Vagina Doc, and this morning I wanted to start off by asking you guys a few questions. So imagine you were walking into the grocery store and didn't have any idea what you were going to buy or what you wanted to get out of your grocery trip. Imagine going into work every day and not having any idea what you were supposed to accomplish that day. Imagine going into a surgery and the surgeon that was performing the surgery had no idea what that surgeon wanted to accomplish with the surgery. Somewhere along the lines, you may experience wasted time, wasted money, and even injury. And that brings me to today's topic: the power of intention when approaching your workouts to avoid pain, to avoid injury, and to avoid wasting your time, because I know everyone has so much of it, right? So let me tell you a quick story about a very common example of, it's an actual example, but very, very relatable to many of you who especially are moms. So previous person that I was working with wanted to get back to running after having a baby, went back to running after having a baby too early on. Running was that person's stress relief. So goes running and just coasts, just loses, goes all the way into her thoughts. Next thing you know it, she's having issues healing. She's having problems with bleeding, leakage, pain, and now she can't run. Her intention was stress relief, was just the freedom of getting away from her family. But so that tells me, okay, she had an intention here, but was it the right intention? So not only is this talk about setting intention, but it's setting the right intention. If you watch this video, I want you to comment why you work out. What is it? Why? Is it for stress relief? Is it for health? Is it for competition? Is it for skill development, just keeping your brain sharp? Is it for injury prevention? Is it for healing? Why do you work out? Put it in the comments. And I'm going to see if I can see what you guys are saying. I don't know why. Only sometimes can I see comments. So I'm asking you guys to think about why you work out. What do you do when you work out? And why do you do it? Is it stress relief? Is it to prevent injury? Is it to set you up for competition? Is it to prevent something? What is it? All right, well, regardless of your why, here's what I could tell you. Is a lot of people don't know why they exercise, but it's like, because I know it's good for me, or I want to avoid medications. They're trying to avoid something. And that's a great start. So this talk, even if you are not even if you don't know why you work out, I want you to stay on, because it will it'll just bring up to you, like, you need to think about why you work out. And why, what is it important? Is it to lose weight? Is it so that you seem more appealing to your partner? Is it to feel good in your clothes? No reason is wrong, okay? No reason. We all want to look good. We all want other people, especially the people that we love, to think we look good. We want to feel like we look good in our bodies. So let me talk about the intentions. These are not all of them by any means, but they're just the sum to name a few. You have exercise to promote healing. You have exercise, or intentions to heal. Your intention could be to learn fundamentals. Your intentions could be to relieve stress. Take time for yourself, relieve stress, get away. Burn fat so that you look better, feel more confident in your body. Build muscle, look toned, fit in your clothes better, feel tight. Learn a new skill. That could be gymnastics, that could be moving a barbell, that could be a specific sport like volleyball, basketball. And then it could be to compete in something, like a race, a marathon, a half marathon, 5K, any sort of thing where other people are involved. Now, each of these different intentions have the way you approach exercise with these intentions in mind is different. So if you work out to promote healing, more than likely you're going to be involved with working with a professional. And the goal there is to do activities in an intensity and in a manner that are likely not painful, they're slow. If there is pain, it's not the type of pain that got you there in the first place. And also, it's below a threshold of intensity that you're not going to worsen the problem. Where this is really relevant is particularly in the first 18 months of postpartum recovery or 18 months of recent major surgery like prolapse surgery, ACL reconstruction, that's a knee surgery, rotator cuff repair surgery. A lot of information that we have available shows that at 3 months, where people typically are just going way too hard, it's where the tissue's the weakest, because it's like now your body's accepted whatever they put in. Let's say if you had a surgery or C-section, and it's time to start strengthening the replaced tissue that now you have, whether that's your own or whether that is your the tissue they use to help you with the surgery. The next intent would be fundamentals. So let's say you take a spin class or a high hit class, and you are pretty new to the movements. You've never really been taught how to squat. You've never been taught how to do some of the movements that you're seeing. So intention 1 is to learn the setup position, how far you should be going, and what the goal of whatever you're doing is. So this goes even deeper. So let's say you're in the fundamental stage. If you try to learn everything and there's multiple things, it's a lot. So just focus on one movement. Say you're in a HIIT class and you're doing squats. Well, really learn how to squat before you add a lot of intensity. That means you're paying attention to what you're doing, what you're feeling, and you're making little adjustments to meet the goal of the movement. You're not trying to break any records at that point. You're not competing. You don't care what other people are doing other than, hey, am I looking similar as that person? But it's not from a competitive standpoint. And then as you get that down, then you practice something else. And then with the squat that you know the fundamentals, then you can add whatever it is to meet your next goal, which I'm going to get to in a moment. So that's fundamentals. If you're new, you should be learning how to do it appropriately for you. when you go into these new classes, these fitness classes, and you're just trying to relieve stress and all these things are new and you're just coasting, you're just doing and trying to get it done, you're not going to get what you think you're going to get out of it. Or you might initially, but like at some point you're going to plateau, or you're going to be running into these hurdles, whether it's achy joints, achy knee. That's why I laugh when people say I have bad knees. I'm like, well, maybe you do, but maybe we can just help adjust your approach to your day and your workouts, and it wouldn't be achy. All right, next. So when your intention is stress relief, whatever it is that you're doing should be a task that is truly, you've reached flow. Like, you don't have any issues. You're not in the time of your life that you're healing still, and you are experienced enough that you can automatically shift and adjust when problems arise. Like, if you're leaking urine when you're running, you're not in that window where you should be using running as your stress relief. There's other things that you can use as stress relief. You just have to sit down and be kind to yourself and ask what you can settle in on. And a lot of people, like, I can help a lot of people, but people aren't ready to work with me because we have to get over those mental barriers at first. Because I know what can do people harm and I know what can't. And I won't put someone in a position that they're going to harm themselves, because when you are in a state that you're like, oh, I'm burning off steam, your hormones, like, you're in this like adrenaline state where you feel like you could flip a car, or you could save your kid if they were underneath a car, and you could because of that state. But and then later you're like, oh my God, what did I do? And then you are defeated you feel terrible for the next several days, and then you don't go back, or you're too afraid to go back, or you're too feel crappy to go back. So that is a problem. And sometimes you punish your body will punish you right back. And some of you experience that, like through, severe symptoms, severe flare in symptoms. So that is key. When your intention is stress relief, it can't be something that is going to put too much stress on your body and you're not ready for it. Next intention, if you want to burn fat, the key thing here is your intensity level. You want to be in a zone where you are able to sustain and burn, get into the zone where you are using your fat sources metabolically. So metabolically means it's like your engine of your car. It's burning fuel. And sometimes if you have a hybrid car, you can use electric and you can use gas. But if, like for our bodies, we can use different fuel sources, and that's carbohydrates, that's fats, and that's ketones or proteins that convert into molecules that can be converted to usable energy. And fat, we want to burn fat. So you can't be in a zone where you're unable to breathe. The other thing is you actually have to use what burns fat. So if you're really unstable and you're just using your joints, less muscle, you're not going to be burning as much energy as you think. So that just highlights the importance of learning how to move and the fundamentals. Fat burn, I think, is the zone a lot of people get into when they take HIIT classes. They think they're in HIIT, they're in high intensity, but true high intensity is exercising like for a shorter bout of time, like 20 minutes, and then you have warm-up component, cool-down component, which setup of the workout, the recovery, it typically is a 30-minute class. And you could do that twice a week, like true HIIT. Because if you do true HIIT, if you're at above 95% of your intensity more than twice a week, your cortisol, your stress hormone levels are going to be through the roof, and you're going to run into issues like fatigue, like tiredness, injuries, difficulty concentrating, sleeping, and some other stuff potentially. Okay, next intention, muscle building. So with this, your intention is to actually not necessarily like become, well, yeah, let's just put it simply. You want bulk up, or you want to tone, you want to look cut. And what you do, well, to look cut and toned, you gotta lose layer, you gotta burn fat, one. Muscle burns more calories. It's to use muscle, it takes more than, just using non-muscular strategies, but fat burns more calories, or not fat, muscle burns more calories than fat. But if you want to build muscle, you want to basically build the density of your muscle tissue. So that's adding more molecules to the muscle tissue itself. We call that, when nerds call that cross-sectional area, so the muscles become thicker. And in order to do that, you have to overload what you already have across the full range of motion, more likely. So one of the biggest things that I find is people are afraid to get uncomfortable, or they don't have the technique down, so their body cheats without them even knowing, and they're not actually training what they're training. So two things you need. You need the technique, so fundamentals, and you need to get uncomfortable. When you get into the muscle building, there's resistance. It's not just light weights, these baby 2 dumbbells. And but it's also like not using momentum for half the range of motion. Muscle building is so key, and it will not bulk people up. But anyways, so yeah, got to get uncomfortable, and you've got to get in a program that you're doing it enough, and you're supplying the fuel after so that you can recover and be able to train in the next day or so. Next intention, skill development. So let's say you want to, you're in a fitness class again, and you want to do like a clean and a press. So basically you pick either a dumbbell off the ground, you pull it, and you push it overhead. It's a compound movement, meaning there's a lot of things going on there. So it's a skill at first. And so you got to take time. I was a body pump instructor back before my job took over my life in a insurance-based clinic. And what I saw was a lot of people didn't take the time to develop the skill of the clean and press in the body pump class. And so they would like do this thing with the bar, and this is really hard. So they would keep the bar light, and then they would press, or like their wrists would do something funky. So again, it goes back to not getting what you think you're getting out of it. Skill development takes breaking things down into components, practicing the components, and also practicing as its whole. A lot of things that you guys are doing in your classes. I mean, running is a skill. Running is truly a skill, given how our lifestyles are as humans. Maybe back in the day it wasn't a skill. That was just something that we had within us, but that's not how it is now. We're not that way. We don't have to run away from danger. We don't have to typically run for food. So that's I don't care what anyone says. Running is a skill. You got to practice. So if you have issues and you don't practice, like care about your technique, you got to go to the fundamentals. Practice the components of it. Build. A lot of people don't have the calf strength. They don't have the hip stability. They don't have different components based on what their body type is. So they go into it, and then they're like, oh, why am I having these issues? Well, they skip so many steps. Once you practice the components, you have to train it in a way that matches your conditioning. And you have to be present there. You're not relieving stress at that point. It is just as much of a brain workout as it is a body workout. For me, I'm learning muscle ups, and I've been learning muscle ups for like over several years now. I don't practice enough to say I'm competent in it. It's still a skill that I have to practice. And when it's in a workout, I do not do it like without assistance, or I do the components of it, because I will injure myself because my adrenaline's up and I want to keep up with everyone. That's what skill development is. If you have kids and they're in sports, and they're always outside shooting basketball or kicking or practicing juggling or dribbling the ball, that's skill development. Notice they're not breathing heavy. They're not lifting a ton of weights or in this intense competition. It's practice. Last thing is competition. So if you're training for competition, then competition shouldn't be every day. Like, you shouldn't be competing with your previous scores every day. You shouldn't be competing with the person next to you every day. That's extremely taxing on your system because of the mental and the physical demands of it, and then the recovery demands. But let's say when you are competing, that's when you're not thinking about all of the stuff that I just talked about. So all the things that I just talked about can prepare you for competition. But ideally, when you're preparing for competition, you're preparing for all the things that can go wrong. And like, for example, Michael Phelps, when he won in the Olympics or a really huge race after his goggles filled with water, he practiced that. A lot of us, we don't anticipate problems. We just react when they happen. And that's unfortunate. So there are a lot of more things that I could talk about, but I just wanted to just highlight how lack of intention can be what is really driving the issues that you're having. If any of these really resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. And I hope that you can go into your next workout and say, hey, I really don't know. I've never taken the time to learn the fundamentals of this, so I'm going to practice this. And just keep in mind, you don't have to master everything at once. Like, it's fine to completely just not have to think about other things. It's too much if you try to master everything. But just understand, honor your body, and it will honor you right back. I don't know about you. I want to move till I'm 100. If I'm going to live long, I want to make sure that my life is full of life and not full of injuries or just worry of embarrassment, leakage. I mean, I see it in my patients all the time, and it makes me really sad. So, last thing I wanted to say is I'm really super excited about an upcoming challenge that I am going to share with you. Still in the works of building that challenge out, but it is amazing. It's literally everything that in bite-size amounts of how to really gain control over your core and your pelvic floor to avoid leakage, even if you have leakage already, or even if you have prolapse. It's getting back that control and that confidence before ever even needing to see a physical therapist, because it takes us years sometimes to get there. And if you're waiting and you're just trying to get control before and get confidence to even go ask for help, this is the challenge for you. It's going to give you the tools that you need to really launch yourself into a whole new you. And if you do need help after that, it's going to cut the help you need by half or more. So keep an eye out on that. And that's all I got for you. Until next time on Real Talk with the Vagina Doc, I will see you guys tomorrow.